Hello, everyone. We're gonna continue developing. Just starting my stream now. I'm a little bit late. I'm a lot a bit late. Um, if you're wondering what I'm working on, I've kind of added a little bit of some notes to outline what it is that I'm working on. And basically, what we're doing is React web development, um, with a more an emphasis on SharePoint, which is the platform that we're building on. And let's get started where we left off last night. Let me make sure that my server is running. So let's go to the Visual Studio Code, and it's running. Perfect. And let's go to our page, put it in edit mode so that we can go back to working on the configuration. So edit. Perfect. So here we have our instructions component, our topics, and then we have our questions, which yesterday we went and we created the selected questions and the all questions. And so we need to work on a way to toggle them and put them into the selected question. So right now, when we click anywhere, we need to change this so that when you click anywhere, it doesn't expand the question. It just moves the question into the selected questions area. So let's do that. Let's see how this is built out. So we inspect this. Let's go to components. And if we highlight one of these components, it's going to be the all questions section. Is going to be a card. Let's go look at the card component. This is a card component. Why did two show up? Oh, I guess it's one that has a card component compiled file. Anyway, long story short, let's go and see. So it has a handle toggle as the on click on here, when it should be handle toggle. Let's not put this on here. Let's get rid of it from here. So now if I go to card, I wish that it wouldn't open the toolbox. So we go to Q&A, and when I click on it, it does nothing. It's only when I click on the chevron that it does that. So now to the div, we'll add the toggle to move it into so in the, let's go here and go to, where are we going? We're going to the, this is what happens when you like work on something. You leave it for a few hours and then you come back and work on it. Let's see. So we have our, there we go, the all questions section, and then the question selector. Let's bring this in to see toggle selected question should be passed into card. Selected questions and all questions. So toggle selected question would be this, and this needs to be passed into card. here we have item. Let's order this. So item, toggle hide dialog, set parent ID, set current FAQ item, handle delete. Then we had toggle selected question, expanded, and then on toggle. Perfect. And so inside of our card, we're gonna need that, and our div on click is gonna run the toggle selected question. I wonder if I think I just put it the function itself. Toggle selected question item. This is handling an item. Okay, let's go ahead and write it in function format. Okay, so now in the all questions, let's put our card to the side. And so card needs item, toggle hide dialog, set parent ID, set current FAQ item, handle delete, and then we need to have toggle selected question, and we need to do the same thing for the selected questions. So here, let's make sure that this is correct. Selected question array, handle move up, move down, toggle selected question, set parent ID. It looks like everything's in order there, but we don't have which one did I just, all questions. So let's look at card. Card has item, toggle hide, set parent ID, set current, and then here we got to put toggle selected question. So if we save all of these components, if we save all the components, now if we go back to the browser, let's test it. So if I add my topics and I go to questions under general, I'm going to add my question. So you can see that it's moving up into selected questions, which is what I wanted it to do. And then here I can see them. So I only selected, I wonder if this is working correctly. So we only selected 2 questions. Now let's go see what we see in this for development. And here we have 3. Oh, okay. We have a problem. The problem is that we have, you saw how it's duplicating it. Like for instance, you'll notice that development fund, why do we use it? What is the best way to develop things? Why do we use it? So development fund, it's overlapping the array because we only have one property or one variable storing the array. And obviously that's a bug. So when I go to my preview, it's gonna look kind of weird. Yeah, so if I go to development, actually it's not even working correctly. It's not working correctly because right now if I go to development, it has 1. And if I go to general, it has all of them. So that's something else that we need to fix. But nevertheless, this is an issue. The issue is because each topic has to have its own instance of the array of objects. And so what we need to do is, yesterday we had a conversation with Claude about this. Let's go back to that. So the way that Claude suggested we build this is we have the information like this. So we have the ID of the topic and then the IDs of the questions. So to fix it, we're going to have to create the array to work like this. So let's go ahead and fix it. So let's go to put this over here and close these two. So selected questions array is coming from the question selector. And we need to have a question selector at every man, how do we make it work so that it retains the questions the way we want them? Selected questions array. I think what we need to do is, let's go look at our Webpart store. So our Webpart store has one selected questions array, which obviously is not going to work. We need to have each topic have its own. On the topics, we need to have each topic have its own set of, like a subset of questions. And so we need to create a type. Yeah, we need to create a type. Let's go ahead and go to types and create a type. So let's go to the app props. And in the app props, we're gonna have to create a type that looks like this. And what's interesting about this is that, let me show you a trick. If you copy this and you have an extension called JSON to TS, watch what happens. So JSON to TS, and look at that. So it has the layout as a string, and then it has a topic with the ID and then an array of questions, which is exactly what we need. So instead of root object, we're gonna have this be the configuration object. I think we already have that, but we're gonna delete this, delete that, and we're gonna use this one as the configuration object. And we're gonna export type configuration object equals a layout that's gonna be a string and an array of topics, and then this is gonna be cool, man. Congratulations. Good luck on the interview. Let me know how it goes. Export type topic. I think we already have a topic. So let's just, oh no, we have FAQ topic. Okay. Yeah, so one of my friends is having an interview, so I'm very happy for him. He put it on the chat, which is really great. So we have our configuration object that's going to have topics, and it's going to look like this. So the configuration object should have, so we have topics array, which should really be, let me go to my, yep, so it should really be here it should be FAQ topic array. And then we need to have the topic contain the I'm trying to think of how to build this, because this is giving us just the raw JSON that's going to be stored in the configuration, but we need something a little bit more elaborate than that. So we have the topics, which is going to be an array of FAQ topic, and in the FAQ topic I wanted to have a questions array. So FAQ topic is going to have, let's create another type. So FAQ export type FAQ topic. Yeah, actually with questions is a good idea. That this is a better way of doing this. So and this is gonna be this, and then we can get rid of this. So the way this is going to look is it's gonna have the configuration with the FAQ topic with questions. And obviously the questions are gonna be an array of FAQ items. Why does it look weird now? Is it, I think it's just, I may have moved stuff over. There we go. No, lady, don't do that. Lady, don't do that. Give me a moment. My dog is doing something she's not supposed to. All right, sorry about that. Let's continue. So, yeah, so this is the way it's gonna work. And then in the Webpart store, let's go to the virtual machine. Let's go to the Webpart store. And this is gonna have to change. So the Webpart store, instead of having the selected topic array, we're gonna create a an object here called configuration object, and the configuration object is going to be type configuration object. Yep. And then we need to be able to have a setter for the configuration object, but the question is, how do we store that, right? How do we, let's get rid of these two. We don't need these two anymore. And let's get rid of these two functions as well. We don't need those two anymore either. And we don't need this. So now we need to have a way to update the configuration object. Configuration object, because the configuration object not optional. The configuration object could be of type configuration object or undefined, and we're gonna set right here configuration object to undefined. So we need to have setters. We need to have a way to update the state in our configuration object. And so we need to be able to have a setter for oh my gosh, my dog is just stop. I'm so sorry. Stop, please. Come here. What are you messing with? Oh. Stop. You were messing with it and it's your fault. Hey, stop it. What did you drop? Come here. Come on. All right. Let me just grab her. Give me 1 second. So you can meet my dog since we're here. This is the culprit. She got into something and now she's barking because whatever it is she was messing with, she is scared of it. And she's not letting us program anymore. She's scared of what she did. So, if you have dogs, sometimes they won't let you code. Right? You're not gonna let me code? Are you gonna let me code? Or are you still scared of because of what you did? Ah, you're pulling on my ear. Sorry about that. So yeah, we're gonna code now, and she's gonna go back to playing. I can feel her heart racing. Whatever she was messing with scared her, and that's why she was barking. But let's get some code. Let's get back to coding. Let me see if she'll won't go crazy when I put her back to playing. All right. So hopefully that calms her down. All right. So where were we? We were going to continue working on the setter for the selected topic within the configuration object. And so we're going to do set selected. You're basically going to take and update the array by adding. Stop, please. Stop. So gosh, I'm having a real hard time thinking on how we're gonna. Let me put this, because I'm having a real hard time thinking of the logistics of this. I agree with the standard JSON to store the IDs as the final object saved for the configuration string. But during the configuration, we need to be able to store the topics and, oh my gosh, I can't type, and the questions in nested arrays. I am trying to think on how to actually attempt this in the Webpart store. I created the above type. I am wondering if that is a good approach, and if we're not doing edits, we're doing plan, and if we're basically doing the rubber duck effect right now. Like typically when you develop, you do the rubber duck, you talk to the rubber duck, my buddy right there. But now we have AI, so I'm talking to AI and to see if my approach or the way I'm actually speculating and thinking on how I'm gonna develop this is actually a good way of doing so, or not so good. So I created the above type, and I'm wondering if that's a good approach, and if I can build individual setters within the store to build the object. Created above type. I'm wondering if that's a good approach, and if I can build individual setters within the store to build the object for the configuration. Range the store to build the object for the configuration. What ideas do you think you can use? As far as Python, I've done mostly scripting in Python. I did a stint for about 3 years actually, where I was working as a full stack developer. But most of the Python experience that I have is strictly scripting. So it's literally just they were mostly scripts for. And then I'm responding to a question that was put in the YouTube chat, asking me to create a Python calculator. So I mean, that would be a fun, interesting little project, and I could do that maybe. So I've been really thinking about my streaming, what I do, and so on the weekends I'm thinking about doing some charity work, like building applications for nonprofits. So on the weekend, I'll probably be delving into more full stack developer. So I mean, maybe on one of those occasions I could do a calculator. During the week, I try to stick more towards the SharePoint stuff. But I'm fairly certain it wouldn't be too complicated, right? Because at the end of the day, you're just doing math. So you just have to have inputs on the page. And at the end of the day, essentially, you're just doing math. Now, if you're talking about like a scientific calculator, that's different. That's a different ball game. Like your standard 0 through 9, basic arithmetic, plus, minus, multiplication, division. I don't see too much complexity in that, honestly. So, all right. So here in the Webpart store. Map number FAQ, question map number, running array, set layout. In the set layout, does this approach make sense? Want me to plan out full store implementation with all the setters? Add to the store, layout selection, configuration object. Selectors, action, set layout to string, and void, add topic, void, remove topic. Okay, so the way that this is telling me to do the store is to actually create a store for the configuration. I think if I am understanding, you're mentioning creating a store for the configuration. I couldn't just merge with the existing one. This is what I have. I'm just curious because I think I know why it's telling me to create a separate store, because if you have a separate store, then you have a separate state. And then if you, but the reason to do it that way is if you had a bunch of components nested in one file. Why? Because if you have the same store and you update a state on, say, component Z that's on the top right hand corner of the page, and then on the top left hand corner you have component A, because they're tied to the same store, both components are going to re-render because the state changed. The Webpart store was modified. Select the questions array and select topics array, not in type definitions. Configuration object undefined should be initialized in default structure. Missing action. Okay, I get it. You were just telling me to, you were just writing it that way, but not. Okay. So it's not telling me to. So if I'm reading this correctly, it's saying that we want to merge it. I'm not understanding the warnings part. Warning, configuration warning array. I'm not understanding the warning part of this. Let's go read. Good thinking. Let's analyze a dual state problem. Two representations needed: runtime, edit state, Zustang, full objects with nested data for UI. Persistent state, property pane, ID only, lightweight JSON. Right, that's exactly what I need. Store full objects, serialize on save. Your current approach, Zustang state, layout string. Easy to component access, no lookups, one source during editing, natural React pattern. Transform on save. Store IDs. So here's where I guess I can understand AI's perspective, but and this is what bewilders me about AI, because if we look at my Claude file, I very clearly state that there's two views. There is the edit view and the display view. It is only in the edit view that we need to see that bigger footprint. And what bewilders me about what this is saying that the reason we shouldn't do things the way I am considering doing them is because the larger memory footprint. But what it doesn't realize is that the memory footprints would kind of be toggled. From an edit mode, I would see the full configuration object, but if I'm in display mode, I would only utilize and normalize the configuration object. So going back to the design options, it would not be a larger footprint because, as depicted in the Claude D, these JSON formats are interchangeable. Meaning when it matters, when the web part is not in edit mode but display mode, we are using, or we are leveraging the lightweight JSON. But when in configuration edit mode, we are leveraging the Zustand store state full configuration. So I am not understanding the hesitation surrounding the larger footprint, given that it is only used when in edit mode. Or perhaps I am missing something, because I don't understand. I don't understand why it's so worried about the larger footprint. And I misspelled going. It's been a long day. So let me talk this one over with Claude, because I don't see an issue really with doing things that way. You're correct, because edit mode full objects and stuff only exist during limited scope, short duration. Exactly, that's exactly what and even it's even in the Claude MD. And then display mode, parse lightweight JSON, fetch IDs, render, no Zustand bloat. Memory cleared. When a user exits edit mode, Zustand state can be reset, garbage collected. Right. Though, so the original type is perfect. Thank you. We have that. And the store should be parent ID, error, full nested objects. I still don't understand the configuration warnings. What does it mean by configuration warnings? Like, what are you trying to track? And then we have type, Webpart actions, set parent ID, set error, toggle error, set layout selection, set configuration object, add topic, remove topic, reorder topics, add question topic, remove question from topic, reorder question in topic, serialization, convert full objects to lightweight. This is something that this is something that confuses me about AI, is that I understand what it's trying to do, but combining the answer to the question within the general structure on how we're going to simplify the store actions doesn't necessarily make sense. Why are we putting this here? I understand that we're going to have to serialize, but the serialization can be just a standard function on the save button. So like you at the bottom. So what I'm basically trying to say is when we have the web part in this mode, and we're going through the process of articulating what topics we want, what questions are going to be within that specific topic that we're going to leverage. When we get to preview and when we actually select what layout we want from here, right here on the bottom or on the top, we're going to have a save configuration. And that save configuration is going to serialize. It's going to store our data, but in a compact way, so that way, the reason it's compact is because the questions and answers may change. Let's say, for instance, I put in a frequently asked question, I get fired the next day, and then John comes in behind me and says, you know what, I'm just going to change the questions to be a different question. He changes the questions, so that change needs to effectively cascade and be visible on all the other web parts. And so that's why we don't cache the actual question and answer. We're only caching the ID. That way I know that I'm using questions 1, 2, and 3, but I'm not putting in the question and I'm not putting in the answer. I'm not putting in the topic. I'm just storing the IDs. So that way when anyone loads it and anything changes, like the topic name or the question is rearranged a little bit or the answer was changed, then it reflects the most current and up-to-date data. If I was to cache that in the configuration object, that would mean that if they update a question or they update a topic, they would have to go in and change that configuration object. We don't want to do that. We don't want that to happen. So what I mean by the configuration object is this right here. This is what's going to be the configuration object in that one field, is where we're going to store our string with all of our configuration. And that configuration is going to look like what we had decided to do way up here. It's going to look like a very basic JSON like this. Because you notice it only has the ID of the topic and it only has an array of the IDs of the questions. Why? Because we always want to retrieve the data from the server based on those IDs, because that's the only way that we can have the correct up-to-date question and answer. And so that's why we do the serialization, but I don't see the purpose of having the serialization done here in the store. It doesn't make any sense. I do agree with everything else though. So we can go ahead and implement these changes into our store. So we have our Webpart store. And I agree with what it says that we should do, just like a generic implementation. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. My dog's got something else. Yeah, so as I was saying, we don't need to have the serialization in here. That's not going to be part of our store. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to cut it a little bit short on my stream today. But I think we can continue this tomorrow. I'll probably log in a little bit earlier, so that I can make these changes. I'm sorry that I have to cut off like this, but my dog is just being mischievous, and I need to give her some attention. Maybe take her for a walk. Anyway, thanks for coding with me, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.